Can you read to me the nameplate?
Judge Eboni K Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. Do we have a problem, ma'am?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Equal justice is all about the most important values of our country: freedom, integrity, and those are the things that I'm striving for. Ma'am, you run your household, this man gets to run his. I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This court cannot hold this woman accountable. People from all sectors of life, black, white, purple, gay, straight, queer, and that's what equal justice with Judge Eboni K Williams is all about.
Oscar Scott claims his mother refused to return the keys to his car after he got a DUI. Leslie Scott says she would have returned the vehicle, but her son still owes her money. The defendant is countersuing for $1,680.
I see I've got Oscar Scott here as my plaintiff. Sir, you're suing this woman for $3,500. This is Miss Leslie Scott. Miss Scott, you have a countersuit, $1,680. I'll start with you, Mr. Scott. Why are we in court today?
I'm here suing my mom for $3,500 because she will not.
You said your mom? That's your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You look great, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm suing my mom for $3,500 because she will not return my car.
Wow. Okay. Tell me more.
Well, I haven't had transportation for the past couple years, and I've been doing a really good job at working, and I'm going to college, and I'm a waiter and different things like that, and I really got tired of taking the bus all the time.
Okay.
So I had a conversation with my mom. My mom was like, you know what? I'll help you get a car as long as you continue on this great path that you're on and being responsible and respectful, and I'll help you get a car.
Okay.
So I continue to do
And when she says
things.
help you get a car, she means buy you a car, really?
No, ma'am. Just send me like the rest of the money because I had.
Oh, you had
25.
some?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you both contributed to the value of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
Yes. So I had $2,500 already saved up from working.
Okay.
And I asked for $1,000 from my mom, and she gave me $1,000, and I was able to get me a car.
Okay, so this is $2,500 from you, $1,000 from your mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Car total $3,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you're still working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
So once I got the car, I continued to do everything that I needed to do. One night, I went to my friend's birthday party, and I didn't really sleep well or anything, and it was a late night already for work. I went to the birthday party. I was on the way home. I was a lot more tired than I thought I was. I got pulled over and got booked for a DUI.
Oh, no. Okay, I understand. So you said you wait tables for a living?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're leaving the restaurant. At what point did you have alcohol, sir? At the party?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you drank at the party. You got behind the wheel. You know you should not have ever done that. You
Yes,
know
Your
that.
Honor.
Okay, so you're pulled over. You're arrested for DUI. Is this your first DUI?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first DUI. Then what happens?
So the officer books me. I have to make a call. Hey, Mom, this is what's going on. They also told my car. So I just told my mom, Mom, can you please pick up my car? And can you please get me out of jail?
The phone call every mother can't wait to receive. Okay,
Really?
yeah, go ahead.
Really?
Unfortunately. So yeah, it was a terrible ride home. And by the
So
time
she did come and get you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she get the car out of impounding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then, yes, you get scolded as you should have been on the ride home.
Most
Yes, ma'am.
definitely.
And then she takes the keys.
Okay, and you haven't seen the car since?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I've heard enough from you, young man. Ms. Scott.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's pick up with where he's saying you agreed to give him $1,000 to the car.
Yes.
And that was a gift to
Yes, Your
reward
Honor.
him for being in school, working, and saving up his money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that was a gift. Everything's going great till this fateful night.
That's
He's
correct.
pulled over, DUI. I'm sure you're very disappointed,
Oh, my
right?
goodness, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. We've talked about the responsibility and being safe, and our whole agreement with my agreeing to help him was that he would take responsibility and not let his friends drive the car and
Right.
make sure that he was being responsible behind the wheel.
Right.
And the DUI just blew the whole thing up.
Okay, so you're livid, you're disappointed.
Yes, indeed.
You're upset.
Yes,
but you do
indeed.
go get him from custody,
Yes, I did.
and you also pay the money for the car to be released.
To release from
impound.
impound. That's correct. It's
Correct.
$680, Your Honor.
Okay, and then you take the car keys, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
And what did you say when you took the keys?
I told him that until he can prove to me that he's going to be responsible and pay my money back to me.
Oh, so
that
now the $1,000?
The $1,000 plus the $680 that I had to pay to get the car out of impound. When he pays
Okay.
that back, then we can sit down and have a conversation again. But he broke our agreement when he got the DUI, Your Honor.
What'd you say about that, young man?
She's 100% correct. I did, but I am completely aware of my mistakes, and I was given and sentenced to 100 community service hours, And ever since then, I've been on the best path that I could at least be to show her that I am.
Are you still in school?
Yes, ma'am.
You still working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let the court see some evidence. So what does this car look like? Do you have anything to show the court, receipts or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Going to give that to my bailiff, rather. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Let the court see. This is a very nice car. Nice little SUV situation. This car looks like it's in mint condition. So this is a great car that you were able to find.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
You get behind another wheel and you're drunk again, then someone's not going to get hurt. Address that for the court.
I have to show her. And the only way that I can show her is if I have the car.
Oh.
And later.
And so I had made that second pizza, and when it had come out, I took a bite into it, and there was a bone in the chicken, and it actually popped my crown out, and my crown fell.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Oscar Scott, who blames his mother, Leslie Scott, for confiscating his car.
We've addressed the fact that you must have been, really devastated, disappointed, and heartbroken when you saw that your beloved son here had committed, such a disappointing act as DUI, driving while intoxicated.
That's correct.
But it also says that he has tried to make amends, right? He's telling the court that he's back in school, he's still working, he's done his service hours. So how do you feel about him today?
Today, I feel that he's not living at home anymore. He's stepped out on his own. He moved in with a friend. I have no way to really know if he's being as responsible as I hope he is. Because we had conversation around this in terms of being responsible. It was part of our agreement for me to give him the $1,000. So I'm heartbroken.
Right.
And I don't want my son to really go through life having this kind of thing on his record.
Yeah.
So I want him to improve. I want to make sure that he knows he's learned his lesson. But with him not living around me anymore, I have no idea what he's doing from day to day.
So do you see what your mother's saying, sir? She's saying this. She's saying that you broke her trust. You came to her and you made her a good faith proposition. And what your mother is saying is the minute you got behind the wheel of that car with the intoxicated state that you were in, you broke that trust.
That's right.
And so now she's trying to see how she can reestablish that trust when you're no longer under her house.
That's
So
correct.
answer that for the court.
In my opinion, I honestly just think it's just the trusting. As she trusted me, I trusted her. Sorry.
Okay,
excuse me.
no. We're not going to do that, Mr. Scott, because here's the thing about trust. People get trust until they break it. So she had already done what you're suggesting she do, which is just simply trust you, blind faith trust. She did that already. And that got her heartbroken. That got her disappointed. That got her in breach of that trust. And so now it is actually your job to what we call rehabilitate that trust. You're the one in a position, sir, to now reprove yourself to your mother. So how do you plan to do that?
I feel like I have been doing that.
Okay, have you shown that to her? Because she's saying you live with your homeboys and she don't know what you're doing.
To the best of my ability. But just the way that I communicated with her, I was like, hey, Mom, like, I've been doing this. I did my service. I'm showing you every single day that I'm still in school.
Did
I
she
have
say,
great
let me
grades.
ask you that, Mom, did you
Yes.
see where he completed the community service?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, you believe that?
I do.
Okay, and you believe he's still doing what he needs to do in school? Because that's very important.
Yes, it is very important, and yes, I do believe he's still in school taking his class.
And is he working?
Yes, I understand he's gotten his job.
Okay, so let's get to the money, right? You understand, young man, that your mother is asking to be reimbursed for two things that you have cost her.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
first is the $1,000 towards the vehicle, and the other is the $680 towards the impoundment fee that was the result of your drinking
Yes.
behind the wheel. Do you have that money?
Yes, ma'am.
You could pay that money.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you this, Mom. If
Yes.
he were to pay for both of those, would you be willing to give him back the keys to the car?
Yes, Your Honor, I will. Well, no, I'm sorry, Your Honor. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
no.
think about it, Ms. Scott.
No, I'm really still so hurt and so disappointed that we even went down this path. He has to not only just repay me, but convince me that he's really learned his lesson, Your Honor.
All right, young man. I mean, listen, I got to tell you, I'm inclined to want to rule in your favor, but your mother is making a convincing argument. You know, I have to say, listen, I don't want to be responsible, sir. If you get behind another wheel and you're drunk again, that someone's not going to get hurt. Address that for the court.
I have to show her. And the only way that I can show her is if I have the car.
Oh. See, Elijah, isn't that so interesting? That's one of those catch-22s, right? I can't do what you're asking me to do unless you do what I want you to do.
Right.
Do you see the problem with that, Mr. Scott? So at this point, I think I've heard enough from the two of you. Your mother said what I think we're all thinking, young man, is that we care about you. You know, I just met you and I care about you. Why? Because you're a young man who is positioned to be the best of us. But little decisions, little mess-ups, like drinking too much at a friend's party after work and already being tired and then getting behind a deadly weapon known as a motor vehicle could cost you your life.
Yes.
It could cost an innocent person their life. That is a risk that is too high for me to take on the basis of your word, which you've already broken one time to the woman that birthed you.
That's right.
So here's what I'm going to do, Mr. Scott. I'm going to dismiss your first claim of $3,500 in its entirety. Let me tell you why. Because I am not going to sit here and rest on just your word, which is not worth a lot today. But this is what I will do. I'm going to give you 6 months. You can bring your claim back to my courtroom. And if in 6 months you say, Your Honor, I'm still working. Your Honor, these are my grades in school. Look how great they look. I will consider the valuation of your car if your mother has not already returned your vehicle to you by then. But I suspect that she might. And as to your claim, Ms. Scott,
yes, ma'am,
I'm going to grant it in partial. I'm not going to give you the $1,000 back that you spent on the car because I'm going to hold out some hope that you two can resolve that amicably as mother and son.
I understand.
But I am going to grant your counterclaim in the amount of $680 because you should have never had to spend $1 of your hard-earned money to get your son's car out of impound due to drunk driving. I rule in favor of the counterclaim for $680 and I dismiss the plaintiff's claim outright. That's my ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff is ordered to pay $680.
I'm going to show you. I'm getting my money.
I hope so, because I love you, and I just don't want to go down this path anymore, and I want you to live.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
What do you say about that, ma'am?
I think she thinks the bone is what broke her crown. I think it was already ready to pop out to begin with. How long have you had this crown?
Only a year.
Was it loose?
No.
Do you know that for sure?
This is Equal Justice. Allison Foster claims she had to see a dentist after she cracked a crown at her friend's pizza party. Lori Beckman says the plaintiff should have noticed a bone in the chicken when she added it to her pizza, so she's not to blame.
I see I have Allison Foster here as my plaintiff and Lori Beckman as my defendant. Allison, why are we in court today?
We are in court today because I am suing Ms. Beckman for $550 covering medical expenses that came from eating food that she prepared at her own home.
Medical expenses, what's the nature of your injury?
Dental damage. I had a crown replacement.
Oh, dental.
So I met Lori about 10 years ago now. We met freshman year of college, same dorm, and we just became fast friends about that. We had a big friend group, continue to hang out, and we've been friends since.
Okay.
She is hostess to the mostest. She is the one that we always going to her house. She's hosting dinner parties. Okay. And so this particular night, she was hosting a pizza night for this new oven that she built herself for wood baking oven.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So like, hold on, wait, like a fire, what do they call
wood
it?
fire oven. Yeah, I got the bricks.
Pit. Okay, excellent. She invites you to her home for this?
Yes, for her home.
Great.
She invited myself and about 8 of our friends over for the night to just test it out. She built it herself.
Great.
And when we got there, she had the whole fixings, everything. She had every topping you can even imagine. She herself was in charge of the pizza dough and the chicken, that was going to be used as toppings.
Okay.
So I had made 2 pizzas that night. I made first one that was a vegetable pizza. I saw my friend had done a chicken barbecue sauce type pizza.
That's a good kind of pizza.
So I wanted to try that for my second one because the first one came out incredible. We were having a wonderful night. And so I had made that second pizza, and when it had come out, I took a bite into it, and there was a bone in the chicken, and it actually popped my crown out, and my crown fell.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
You are making your own pizza. This is your own pizza that you make.
Okay.
You put in the oven. You take a bite. That is on you.
This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with a dispute between Allison Foster and her friend, Lori Beckman, over an unexpected trip to the dentist.
I want to see the court to see the second pizza, man, with the meat, the chicken on it. Where is the bone?
You can see where the arrow is pointing. It's on that
Oh,
slice.
that's the bone.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the bone.
So you bit into this, and this knocked your crown off of your tooth?
It did, yes.
Okay. And was that, I imagine that was painful for you?
Yes, very painful.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's get to you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your version of this? She is saying, as you hear, that she had a great time at your pizza party.
Right.
Wood fire on point, but that you were in charge of the chicken, and apparently your work was less than accurate, hence this chicken bone that she says caused her dental injury and expenses.
You are making your own pizza. This is your own pizza that you make.
Okay.
You put in the oven. You take a bite. That is on you, not me.
So what do you say about that argument, that you
Yeah.
are the one that ultimately was literally had your hands in it?
My guess is that when I picked the handful of chicken up, it was in the center. It was not where my immediate sensory was.
So if that's the case, though, then wouldn't you be able to use that same argument in defense of the defendant? That if,
No.
if it was, no, listen to me now. If it were so able to easily not be detected by you as you made this pizza, couldn't we argue that it was just as easily undetectable by this woman as she prepared the topping bowl?
No, because she is preparing the chicken, meaning she is cutting it up with a knife. I was merely grabbing my hand with it. She's touching almost every single piece of the chicken and prepping it, cooking it, doing the whole thing. And so that has a lot more contact with the chicken than simply grabbing it from a bowl and putting it on top of a pizza.
Okay. And what do you say about that, ma'am?
I think she thinks the bone is what broke her crown. I think it was already ready to pop out to begin with. How long have you had this crown?
Only a year.
Was it loose?
No.
Do you know that for sure?
Judge Eboni's verdict when Equal Justice returns. This is Equal Justice.
Would you think it is fair if I were to tell you that I do believe there is some responsibility from her, but I also think there's some responsibility from you? Because if both of you at some point had your hands in the chicken, you cutting and preparing it, you distributing it on your said individual pizza, one could easily argue that this is a contributorily negligent case where you're partly responsible and you're partly responsible. Would you agree with a ruling that says that you have to pay if it meant that she also had to pay? If it meant that.
I would take it, ma'am.
You would take half? Okay, that's what the court's going to do. The court does find exactly that. So I'm going to find that you both contributed to the negligence that ultimately led to your broken crown, which ultimately led to your incurrence of $550. And I'm going to split the difference exactly as I see the fault, equally. So I am ruling in favor of the plaintiff, but only for half of your $550 demand. That is my ruling.
All rise.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $275.
Any final thoughts for each other?
I still think you're crazy.
I hope that you really appreciate your friends and don't make them out to be the monsters that they aren't.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.